I'll just wait for a few people coming on. Can anyone hear us out there? Just to make sure you can hear us.
Has it gone on live yet? Yeah.
Yeah. Just wait for a couple coming on. Show you, my friend.
No worries.
Beautiful day, isn't it, mate?
Makes a change.
I know.
Yeah.
Right. He's coming on here, mate.
Yeah, come on here. There's 6 on now. Right. Just wait for a few more.
Yeah. We do ours a little bit different, Stewie. We just, as if we're just 2 lads on there. We don't have all this editing stuff, and the dog walks in. We just let it stay on there. We just leave it raw and live, and people like it because it's like they're at home with us type of thing. So
they've got no choice because we're dinosaurs.
Yeah. Really, we don't know how to do it. I'm trying to make myself look good.
We want a lesson off you.
Yeah, so we were going to kidnap you. We'd probably end up getting in there done for that. Keep him in a week, he'll show us everything.
Don't worry, I'm not grass.
We'll look after you and feed you.
Yeah. Dog on the door so you can't get out. Yeah. Yeah, we start to fly now, so we go live. Right, it's me, Brian Cockerill, aka the Taxman. On the Taxman Show, we've got my friend Stewie Armstrong, absolute legend, bare knuckle fighting. He's into. He does documentaries. He's an absolute brilliant guy. Welcome, Stu, to the show.
Hey, Brian. Thanks for inviting us, mate. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. I'm just thinking you must be a little bit worn out after your live before.
Oh, well, when people start calling me liars and doing stupid things like that, you've got to say something. You can't just sit there and listen to nonsense. So, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have said nothing because I think the man's got mental health problems and he's probably struggling, and you can see that it's deteriorated from the old days. But to sit there making lies up about people, you've got to respond to it. Don't wish him any, I hope he gets help, and I don't wish him any bad luck or anything, but you can't have people calling you a liar and saying this happened and that happened and it never happened. So that's why I responded, mate. But the last time, as everyone knows, there's been 1,000 people come on there. Other people said, I've seen that happen in the street that day. I can come to court. I can do this. I can do that. But it's nothing to do with that. It's just that he's dragging it all out. That people could end up getting arrested for something that happened 30 years ago. Nearly stupid.
It's crazy, isn't it? But yeah. Not surprising.
Yeah. So can you just let the viewers know what you do and everything, Stu, please? Just because everyone knows you, but just let the other ones know.
I'm just thinking, I don't do much, really. No, so I've written quite a few books. Started off writing books 2013 about experiences when I used to be a doorman. And I'm also a bare knuckle promoter in partnership with Sean and Amanda Smith at UBKB.
Yeah, got you there.
And I'm quite obsessed.
What is the boxing? Is it the bare knuckle boxing, that one?
Yeah, so it's professional bare knuckle boxing.
Right.
It's something to behold, to be honest. It's not. I've always been a boxing fan, and it's not really something I'd ever thought much about. And when I saw my first bare knuckle show, I was just sort of hooked on it, to be honest. And then I've ended up working sort of in the sport, doing media and that kind of thing. And then now I'm a promoter with Amanda and Sean at UBKB. But it's some absolutely top level stuff. We do about 4 shows a year at the BEC Arena in Manchester. Always sold out, 2,500 fans, 3,000 fans. Absolutely belting. And it's not what people think either. The kind of, a lot of people still think there's a bit of a stigma around it, that you'll get there and it'll be in hay bales and a load of knackers there. It's completely different. So it's all done in the ring. We've got pretty much the same rules as pro boxing.
Is it just boxing, just without the gloves, really?
Yeah, pretty much. So the only difference would be, so they've got to wear hand wraps, just bandage hand wraps to make it legal. And you get a 20 count instead of a 10 count with a standing 18 instead of a standing 8.
Right.
And that's pretty much the main difference in it. Apart from that, all the rules of boxing are there. So there's no clinching, no elbows, none of that. Do them all over 3 2-minute rounds. our title fights over 5 2-minute rounds, and something I think why I get on with the man and Sean so well and doing it, they've got the same sort of ideas as me about what should be the most important, and that's the health of the fighters, really.
Yeah.
So we've got all kinds in place. So we've always got 2 fully trained medics ringside, and a fully trained doctor. So they're always there. Drug tests in place, so everybody's mandatory drug tested, and then we also do random ones as well. Just sort of. Do
you do drug tests for steroids or just for like cocaine and things like that, or tablets and things like that?
For everything.
You do everything. And when is that? Is that done on the night or weeks before?
Well, that's done on the day. So it's the same day we in. We normally weigh in about 1 o'clock, and then they'll go off and have the full medical test. So they get like a full medical, all checked out before we'd even consider letting them fight, and the drug tested then.
I never knew that.
Yeah. But then we also do it, random tests. So we might just kind of pick someone and we'll test them just as they're going to walk into the ring. Or sometimes just after they've been in the ring, just to make sure.
Yeah. Can I just ask you, do you get people coming wanting to box and they can't box? Do you have to have like when you're professional, you have to have 2 professional boxers watching to see if you can box and they pass you through it. How do you know that these people can fight? Who come and say, well, I'll fight Tommy Jenkins and whatever. How do you have to go and see if they can box first?
So we get crazy amounts of applications to come and fight. Funny enough, we get more between like Friday night and Sunday morning when they're all full of drink or full of sniff. But you can move them out straight away. So unless somebody's got like a proven sort of background in bare knuckle, before we see the videos, we know of them. We do these what we call an open training day down at Sean's Gym in Warrington. So we've got one on the 30th of May, and basically anybody who's a hopeful, no matter whether they're saying they've got 600 fights history or 0, they'll come in and they do what they only describe as a brutal training session. So it's like a lot of boxing circuits, bag work and stuff for Sean, and then they'll go in the ring and do some pad work, body bag, that kind of thing. And that really sorts the men from the boys, to be honest.
I remember training. I remember going to see Richie Horsley, my mate, Northern Warrior, good lad from Hartlepool. He fought and a nice lad, and his trainer was from the Catholic club, and you were getting on the pads, but I hadn't been on for ages. And he said, as soon as you start moving around, and you could. So the people who know the game can tell, there should be feet work and you're bobbing and weaving, and you don't just get. I always say, if you can dance good, you can box, because it is really like dancing in a way, like Mayweather and people like that in fast feet. If you can dance, a lot of people I know who did all that dancing in the 80s and stuff,
all the
disco dancing, the disco dancing and stuff. They're all becoming really good cage fighters, and you top fighters. No, I really did. Ducko was one, and Bram, he used to dance. He was on another one with my friend.
Tony Darby was
it? Tony Darby. There was loads of people who could dance really, like on a dance floor, were really good in the ring. So that's definitely coordination and balance and things like that. But the one thing you can't train is your chin. You can be the best boxer in the world if you haven't got a good chin. You're knacking you, and you can teach people anything, but you've got to have the heart to do it as well.
Yeah, you can spot them a mile off as well when they come in, to be honest. And I mean, we've had some where quite a lot now where they've got part way through and they've just threw up all over the place. It's too much for them, sort of thing. We've had one that went off to throw up onto the toilet. We've never seen them since. That was a couple of years ago. So it's not for the faint-hearted. But I think it's crucial to make sure that people are safe. And
my friend from Inverness, Bill King, a nice lad. He had a fight with the lad, and the lad went to have a fight and jumped out the ring and ran off. So has that happened at your shows?
No, but I'm sure it does. We're quite sort of, not sort of, we're really, really careful in matching. And sometimes it'll take quite a long time to match, and it's not just you two are the same weight, chuck them in.
Yeah,
yeah,
because it can be mismatched.
Yeah.
You can have mismatches, can you? Have somebody fighting for 6 years and somebody could be fighting for 6 months.
Exactly. So we look at all of that, the experience, the fighters they've fought, as well as things like height and weight and things like that, you know, to make it a fair match. And when we match on weight as well, there's only 2 kilograms in weight allowed between the two fighters, no more.
All right. That's weird.
I mean, as I'm sure you'll know yourself, you've probably thrown the odd bare fist in your time.
Once or twice.
I mean, the same boxing, but even more bare knuckle. One shot, you sort of, it can really change the course of a fight. So, you know, you've got to kind of have it right.
Especially in heavyweight, anyone can knock anyone out.
That's it. We've got to
knocked out with people who are
We've got a cracking heavyweight bout on the show in July. Lee McGarry, who was a former British heavyweight champion, and Craig Jenkinson.
Right.
And the first one of those that gets a clean shot on the other, one of them's going to sleep.
It's taken them out.
Two powerful lads.
Right.
We've been invited as guests to that show.
Yeah, we've been invited to guests to that show, haven't we? So,
yeah, you're coming down, aren't you?
Yeah.
You'll love it.
So, how far does the boxing go back? Because it goes back 100 years, doesn't it, when they used to fight the old style?
Yeah, it goes back. So, funny you should say that. I've just written a book about bare knuckle boxing, and it goes a lot in the sort of history of the sport. And
because they used to box like absolute, didn't they? Like
that's it. The fighting Irish stance, isn't it? So it goes all the way back to, well, sort of predates Roman times. It's all documented from there. And in Roman times, funny enough, they would very often wear hand wraps, similar to what a fighter would wear now, but made out of leather. And there's been some sort of incidents, and them being found on these digs and things like that.
So was that like the gladiator type of things?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Goes back to the very first Olympics as well, in whatever daft year it was. It's hundreds of years ago. But a lot of people seem to think that bare knuckle boxing used to be illegal, but it's never actually been illegal in this country. It just kind of sort of fell out of favour when the Marcus Queensberry rules came in.
Right.
Which everybody tends to think, oh yeah, we'll get the gloves on, we'll shorten the rounds and things to make it safer.
Yeah.
Actually a fallacy. It was because tend to be with gloves, a match would normally last longer, and you're more likely to have a lot more blood and gore, and that's what the crowds wanted. And that's the main reason the Queensberry rules were brought in.
Right. What's the difference then from the training that? Because when I was training for the 3-minute ones, it was different. I used to do all the high intensity interval training. I wouldn't do the 10-mile runs. I didn't like it. I was 20 odd stone anyway. So you can do 50-meter sprints. Yeah, not for me, the 10-mile runs and all that. I'd jump on the bus.
Exactly.
So I think when you're in the ring and you're only fighting 2 or 3 minutes, you can do it all out on the bag, and then when you're fighting, you can pace yourself when you go in the ring. But I don't think you need to do as much as what some people do. Different in the professional boxing, so it's 10 rounds type of thing.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of the fighters they'll train the same as they were in the program, and some of them train for sort of 10 rounds. We're thinking, well, if I can train for 10, I can easily do 3 sort of thing. It's not as obviously as you know yourself. It's not the same as sort of doing a 2-minute rounds on a bag to actually being in the ring.
Because when you've got all that adrenaline to try and hold back, that's the worst thing you can do is get angry when you fight, because your adrenaline goes up and then your energy goes, doesn't it? So you've got to learn to calm that. You never see a boxer go in the ring screaming and shouting. They're all calm and laughing and all ready to fight. But you have that. I used to when I was fighting, I'd go pee. I'd pee all the time. Every 20 minutes we were having to pee. I think it was like butterflies. You'd get a bit of nervousness. Well, every fight I had, you had nerves. I don't care. People say to me, "Oh, I don't get scared for a fight. I don't get nervous." And then the other thing is, if you're fighting in a club or somebody starts in the street and you start, it's over. You don't have to think about it. When you say to someone, "I'm in 6 weeks." Going to fight somebody in 6 weeks or something, you go to bed the night, you're going, "I'm going to knock him, I'm going to beat him, easy beat him." Then the little man will come, "What if you lose?" And then you get the other party, Yeah, but you can knock him out. But what if he knocks you out? So everyone gets. I was talking to Ernie Buick, absolute legend from Sunderland.
Yeah.
He was the only person to beat Viv Graham in the ring. Really lovely bloke, and he used to have them same thoughts. Mike Tyson said the same. So I think everyone gets them done there.
Yeah, I think it's human nature. There's one thing that always gets me though, which I just kind of work out how they can do it. There's a lot of fighters for like say an hour before they go in for a fight, they'll go to sleep. They lie down and they'll go sound asleep, and they'll sleep for an hour and then get up, go on the pads and warm up and stuff, and then in they go. I think it's a common thing, but I think it's quite a bizarre thing. I mean, I've never, well, as I said to Steve Wraith on his podcast the other day, I could have been world champion if only I could box.
Yeah, it's but can decide that it's a dangerous game still, isn't it? Like any sport, any type of contact sport, you get broken neck, broken jaws, or people being killed in the ring. It's not they're paying hard, like you say. It's probably the hardest thing. I've trained on weights and bodybuilding and everything, but there's nothing harder than training when you're boxing. Especially like you say, when you get there and there's 200-300 people, when you're fighting on the tarmac or something with someone, or you're fighting on the field or on a beach or something, there's no one there. There's just you and him. There might be friends there, but it's one-to-one. That's it. It's totally different, isn't it, than being in the ring.
That's it. I mean, a lot of people there watching, and just when you're saying about the safety there, that it's not as well publicised, I don't think, as it should be. That obviously, there's risks with all combat sports of head injuries, brain injuries, and death. But bare knuckle boxing is actually medically proven to be much safer than glove boxing. So a couple of main reasons behind that is one, this size of a fist is a lot smaller than a glove. So that force that reverberates the brain inside the skull is smaller. And there's a lot more headshots thrown. So with headshots, you're more likely to break your hand than somebody else's head. So there's a lot less thrown there. And it's been documented for at least 2 or 3 decades from sort of top medicals all over the world. But I think it's because of that little bit of stigma that's on it sometimes. I think it's hard to publicise that fact. Yeah,
it's the same as every time you get a hit in the head, it can give you brain damage. A lot of American footballers, they were getting contact to 18 stone hitting each other that run at 20 mile an hour or something. They were getting concussion and all sorts of different things. It was giving them brain damage and stuff. So a doctor went and took them to court and they won the case, because when you get hit at that force, you will get damaged, won't you? There's no doubt about
it. There's a load of rugby players doing that in this country at the minute. They've got a case ongoing.
That's the same sort.
But then you think, kind of, where does it end? Because I've been hearing stuff about all kinds of footballers saying they shouldn't head the ball, and then something about women footballers are going to be banned apparently from heading the ball. But where does it stop? I think it can go too far as well.
Yeah. So what? How long have you been in the sport then, Stu?
About 6 or 7 years altogether. I kind of left for a while, and then I went back again to work for Sean and Amanda, and then they made us partners. But it's this crazy amount of respect between them and between the fans is just unreal.
Right. So like that.
Sorry, but you keep freezing, mate.
Emma?
Got your back.
I know, freezing. She's supposed to be helping me do it. She just keeps walking off and leaving me. So are you there now?
Yeah, I can see you.
Yeah. It's just that. Yeah, it's all right there. People at the doors, everything in this fair. Yeah, so I'm just. I know Terry Diggles just popped in. I know
Terry. Hello, Terry. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah. Yeah, he's sound. He's on about his book for the band. You were going to help him out with the book.
The address, Brian.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah,
I'll send it to you, Stuart.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime. I'll get it for you, not a problem.
Have you, what type of documentaries have you done then, Stu?
I haven't actually done any documentaries.
Right.
So I was going to do one in your neck of the woods.
I'll just shut this door because everyone's talking and either. Right. Hello.
So
yeah. What happened there? What was it called?
It was the Lee Duffy one.
Right. Was this the very first one about Lee?
Yeah. So I was going to do that. And then Carol, one of Lee's family, got in touch with us and sort of told us certain things that had been happening. And yeah, I wouldn't want to be involved in something like that. You know what was going on at the time. Right. But I think a lot of people know about it. It's not worth getting into, but it doesn't sit well with my sort of moral compass. And I walked.
Well, the same person who you did the documentary with, I was doing the same type of documentary, and I pulled out of it because the lies that were getting told, and they made up stories like stealing out of pound shops and all these. Lee did. Somebody tried to shoot me, and Lee did a backflip over the back of a car. Absolute ludicrous stories, just made up. And he's supposed to have went to a nightclub in Blackpool called Cream. And all these people commenting saying there's no such thing as a nightclub called Cream. I worked there 50 years. There was ex-managers on. There was ex-Dorman coming on. 390 comments. Yeah, anyway, sorry, I might get that wrong. Cream was the Liverpool, and I'm getting mixed up. What was it called now? Something Cloud. Sorry, it was called Cloud. And they said there's no such thing as a club called Cloud in Blackpool. So all these people come up from Preston everywhere. And Ed Lee knocking 30 people out, stabbing some with a knife, gutting them from here to the top, which is impossible. You'd have to saw them open, you stare them with an axe blade, and then he picked a bag of ecstasy up and went to a party.
Have you got something to tell me?
No, I'm just saying it's just absolutely crazy, isn't it? Making stories up that don't exist. I just don't understand that because everyone finds out in the end, Stewie.
That's it. That's it. And some of the stuff that was going backwards and forwards to Lee's family when Carol got in touch, and I don't think for a second she thought I would take any notice, but when she showed us, it's I don't work like that. It's not my kind of thing to be involved.
She said when she told you the truth. Yeah, that's the reason. That's the reason why I pulled out, because I thought of his family, his brother, his sisters, his mum, and all the other people, and that's why we did the book. The Brian Cockerill one and Lee Duffy, Taxman at Teesside. It's sold. We've done nearly 1,000 books, but we did the truth in it because we got all people we got in that book of all new Lee. They're all in the 50s nearly or older. New Lee. We put the other side of Lee instead of this horrible monster of Teesside and everything. So we not calling Lee in it. We're saying he was a nice lad, and the stories we put in were nice, and his family all come forward. And I give a quote away to he's one of his daughters, and just they're all friends with us now, the family, where the other person, they don't want to know him, nobody wants to know, because nobody wants to write lies about the loved ones in a book.
I mean, Lee's somebody you ever met or ever knew or anything like that, but some of the things that were being said, I mean, he seriously hard man in his time, but he wasn't a superhero backflipping over cars times when killing Superman on his head and things like that.
You can't make what he's doing. The personal books, he's glorifying what Lee did, and what me and Lee did then was wrong. We shouldn't have done what we did. We shouldn't have been taxing people and people having fights with people. We should be doing. We spread the word of God now, and we're going out there helping people, saving people's lives, helping people with mental health. We just want to help people. I won't make stories up about people, especially who's passed away, and calling people's mums and things like that. It's like you just don't do it. But getting back to you, Stu.
All the calling in the family and stuff, and I mean, I'm no angel, but certain things, you've got to
draw a line.
Got scruples about you, and I just wouldn't want to be involved in anything like that. So
Well said and well done, mate, because you did. It's not all about the glory for you and people like me. It's about dignity and pride. It's about telling the truth, have dignity and pride instead of making things up. It never happens. And these fictitious stories about Lee, and Lee was a good lad. He was like us all. None of us are angels or fighters.
Yeah.
We've all done. He wasn't sin cast the first stone. We've all done stupid things. We regret it, or we can't change what we've done. But what we can do is we can help the kids of today and tomorrow by showing the experience what we've had in the past, not do that. We don't glamorise what Lee did because we don't want kids to follow Lee and be like Lee and get killed like Lee. So we just don't want that to happen. We're on the anti-knife campaign with Ben Spann, and we're just helping people all over the place. And we've got Joe Egan coming on. He was a good boxer, wasn't he?
Joe, I know Joe. Yeah,
you're lovely man. He's backed us up, and people like yourself, and you know, it's great. It's great to help people. I think like yourself, Stu, going out helping people is better than hurting people.
So when you do the podcast with Joe Egan, so if you schedule for an hour, just reckon it'll be about 3, because people can talk. By Christ, Joe can talk.
He's all right, and I can as well, can't we? So be here for we might do a 24-hour one for the first time in history.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah.
So you're going to have different guests on every hour.
Yeah, it'd be good, wouldn't it? Yeah. So what you're up to now, Stu? Then is it? When does this? Do you know when people are training for the fights? Well, I used to do about 8 to 10 weeks before the fight, and go for a big fight. If you find somebody just local or something, I used to always be fighting fit.
It's normally about the same, but
yeah.
And I really feel for the fighters with this. I mean, it's affected everybody, but with this pandemic, the shows and the fights that are matched that are going to take place in July, they were meant to happen last year. So these fighters were kind of training, and then we had to postpone the show. Right. And then when we managed to get another date, when we came out with this first wave of it, they were then training again for that. And then we've all been locked down again, and the back in training. So I think it's been a hard one for them. With some of them, it's been a continual training camp for over a year. They'll be knackered by come fight night.
And the thing is, when you're boxing like that, if you're not boxing in the ring, you don't get paid, do you? It's not like a job where you go to, or you go to the sick and you get your money every week. You don't get paid, do you? So you have to get a job as well.
That's it. Well, so the majority of the lads have all got jobs as well. Some real hard-working lads out there with some really good jobs as well. It takes a special kind of person, I think, to get into bare knuckle.
Yeah.
But the best kind of person as well. Made so many good sort of lifelong friends through the sport. It's just unbelievable. It's if only I could box, I'd have a go myself. But I'm not a chance.
It's funny, isn't it? You get them calling each other West and whatever. They get in that ring, they knock 10 bells out of each other. And after the ring, they're cuddling, kissing each other because they have respect, because they both have gone through the same pain, and they just had to love each other at the end of the fight. And that's what I love about the boxing, because everyone always gives them a cuddle, says, well done. Whether you get beat, win, lose or draw, people shake hands and they're friends. And they stay friends for a long time, because a lot of it when they're screaming and shouting at each other, hype to get people to come to the fights and things. They don't really hate each other. It's just one of them things. Mandela, he was the master of it when he was there. Calling people out and things, but he never hated anyone. It was just it's all like sports. The best sportsman, really, when he Muhammad Ali, with the more like the wrestlers did. Yeah.
Yeah. When he did the wrestling bout with it.
No. What he done is he went to a wrestling place and he had these people shouting, "I'm going to do this to you, and I'm going to do this." That's where he got it from. And he got that gimmick where he was saying, "I'm coming to your house and I'm going to knock you out," and all this stuff. And for people the people he used to say, the people who hate me pay to see me get beat. The people who love me pay me to win, so I can't lose. So he was a master at psychology. He was brilliant. I mean, the rope-a-doper with Foreman was just phenomenal, wasn't it? Them type of fights.
And when you get the ones like that where there is hype, where they're shouting at each other and calling each other out, and it looks like, especially now with social media, they're the ones that are the big ones. They're the ones that sell the tickets.
Yeah. Who do you think AJ or Tyson Fury?
Well, I don't think there's any contest, to be honest. Fury all day long.
Tyson. Who do you think?
All day long.
Yeah, got to be better boxer. No disrespect to AJ. love him to bits, but I think he's a bit like Frank Bruno, a bit anatomical, a bit chinny. That last lad who fought him, the Mexican lad who beat him, the last time he beat him easy, didn't he? He just destroyed him. He couldn't get anywhere near him. His punches was just too powerful for him. And you've got to remember, he was nowhere near the size of Tyson, so I just think he's going to outbox him.
I think Tyson's boxing brain is just too good for him. And exactly. I think as much as AJ tries to be the one that's always playing the cool and things, I think you get in his head, the same as he did with Klitschko. I think you get in his head. I'd be, I think in my mind, the biggest sort of thing to wonder is, will it actually go ahead?
Yeah, that's what we're thinking. My wife and I were thinking.
It could be that maybe Hearn's trying to protect AJ for a while.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
It's going to be sad if it does happen. I think it'll be over in Saudi, which I think is sad. It's been the biggest thing in British boxing for a long time. Yeah. And I mean, I would have went, and I wanted to take take some of my sons with us. But
I'm your son.
I'll be able to.
I'm your son.
Oh, you
can take me.
Yeah, you put your ass down behind you.
Yeah. So, I'll be putting in for years ago, it used to be all the Americans that were the world champions, innit? So it's changed around, innit? That the British now are all the top boxers.
That's it.
Yeah.
Still, though,
what did you do?
My all-time favourite still American, though, Mike Tyson.
Right, yeah, I love Mike Tyson, but I've got to give it to Ali, mate. I love this the way.
Behind me head, that's Mike Tyson signed.
Right. Yeah, fantastic person, really good mindset. Customer destroyed by a woman, really, wasn't he? So, what women are what they like.
One king and a woman.
Yeah, that's the worst thing you can get mixed up with. You young lads stay on your own. You box and stay on your own, then get married when you retire. Yeah.
That's there's a lot of unscrupulous people in the fight game. Some of the weirdest sort of people you've ever met, and there's so many people that are in it, promoters, just to make money out of it. And they couldn't give a damn whether there's a mismatch or whatever. It's about money to them. Where we kind of do it for the love. It sounds a bit cheesy, but if we make money, we make money. If we don't, we don't. It's that's not the most important thing.
No. You think some of the fights you put on, and you go to some of the fights and you get surprised by the fighters, where you think, well, what a fight that is. You know, when you've been there, where they're both just as good as each other.
Very often, and some of them are just absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. Some of them go the opposite way as well.
Yeah.
Something that I'm always fascinated by, if you get someone who they're a really good glove boxer, they've had shitloads of fights, are absolutely brilliant, and then they come into bare knuckle. I love watching the first time they fight. Some of them, they just take it like a duck in the water, and they're brilliant. Some of them, as soon as they get hit with a bare fist, they just don't want to know.
Yeah, big difference in it.
Yeah, and they never really tell. I'm always quite intrigued by that.
Yeah. It's a bit like it's a bit like the street fighting in a way, but you've got the ring. That's the difference. Yes. So where are you based at then, Stewie?
I'm over in North Shields, just on the coast there, near the river. And then so
you have a gym up there. You have a gym up there then.
No, so Sean's got a ring down in a gym down in Warrington. So that's where all the fighters come for the training and for the tryouts and stuff.
Like when you're an amateur, you can't have a professional boxer in a gym. You can't train like Marty Turner was a brilliant boxing trainer. It's called Cornelius Carr, trained all them type of people. Lee Duffy, all them brilliant lad. Anthony, all them good boxers. He said you can't train a professional fighter if you're training amateur fighters, but is that different in your game? Can professionals come into the unlicensed boxing and fight unlicensed fighters?
Yeah, so with that, I think it's more politics between the Board of Control and in British boxing for the amateurs. and they're very sort of staunch on that. But with us, we've got some ex-pros, we've got some ex-amateurs, we've got some ex-unlicensed. A lot of the cage fighters do quite well in it, to be honest. The MMA lads, when they come over to do bare knuckle, they tend to do quite well.
Right.
And I think it's maybe being used to fighting in like 5-ounce MMA gloves rather than boxing gloves.
Right. So what type of bandage are they? Just like crib bandages or?
Yeah, just a normal bandage. Like if you cut yourself and went to hospital. So there's bandage sort of from the wrist to the top of the knuckles, thin bit of gauze, and then just taped.
Right, right.
And that's got to be done in this country. It's not legal if you don't wear hand wraps.
Were they the first to start at Joy Pile Senior, and when they did the Lenny McLean and Roy Shaw, was that the first type of unlicensed boxing?
I think that was when all the unlicensed stuff started. Yeah.
Yeah. Was Frank Warren? Was it Frank Warren? I think was he involved in that?
Yeah, he was involved in it back in the day.
Yeah.
And I think all that unlicensed stuff was for people like, I mean, McLean was one of them. He was a promising boxer, but the board wouldn't give him a license because he was a criminal record. So, and that's how the unlicensed stuff came about. These fighters, even if it was years ago, and it was an error of judgment, straight and narrow after that, they're very anal the border control.
Yeah. I think they're bringing a new federation out. Young Joey, David, it's Fight 100. Seems to be quite
advertising that.
500 seconds. You have 5 rounds at 100 seconds. And you have 100 seconds rest. No mediators. You can use
it's elbows.
They're going to put microphones and stuff in the gloves. I think you can actually hear the thud, because you can't hear the thud when you watch it on the telly, but if you can hear it, it sounds really interesting. Monitors on the heart and things like that. So it's going to be like a 21st century thing. So I think that sounds quite exciting. Good lads as well then.
Yeah, so it sounds pretty good. It's starting to get quite a following by the looks of it as well. I don't know when the first one's happening, but it seems to be picking up.
Yeah.
But I mean,
he'll have the big stars coming up there.
Yeah, he'll have all the unlicensed following as well from his start, and then from him promoting the unlicensed over the years as well.
He's an absolute legend, Joey Pyle, senior and junior, brilliant people, good guys, and just like yourself, Stewie, just do it for the love of it, don't they? And if they can make a few quid, you can make a few quid. But I think it should be good. It's good to have a different thing, isn't it? It's if you have the same thing all the time, the same boxing schools, it gets a bit boring. It's probably going to watch the same runners win every year, isn't it?
And it does, and you need to have that sort of excitement, the unexpected, I think, as well.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I like the bare knuckle so much, to be honest. It's it very much, it could just, there could be somebody who would be clearly winning. So it's scored on points. So the same as you would in boxing. We've got independent judges. But you can have somebody say, gets into the third round, and it's clear going to be unanimous decision on one way, and then the other one can just get one shot in, and that's it. It's decided, gone. Totally different.
Did they go the distance? Most of them, or did a lot of them get stopped?
A lot of them get stopped. Either stoppages or knockouts. Some of them go the distance. I normally find the better the matches of the fight, the longer the fight
goes.
Yeah. I mean,
there's
some of the other people who get them on, and they're all like 3-second knockouts and stuff like that. And it will happen the odd time, but it's not the best matching if it's like that. I don't think, anyway.
And the crowd don't feel like they've got the money to there.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've got 15 fights on this show. We normally do anywhere between 13 and 15, but we make sure they're all absolute blinders. As I like to say, all thrillers, no fillers. So you get some that try to put on like 20 and 30 bouts. Half of them will pull out before the day anyway. Some of them just shouldn't even be in there. It's just a nightmare. So I think something like that, it's better value for money for the punters as well. And at the end of the day, without the fans, there wouldn't be a sport.
I think quality is always going to beat quantity, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd rather have watched 2 good fights than 20 bad fights, you know. But I think another thing, Stu, if you don't get it right, the fans start walking away, don't they? So you seem to be getting it right because you've sold out the tickets again. So whatever you're doing is working, making good on you. But it's the people in the crowd obviously are coming to see them. What type of price range is it roughly for tickets? Is it a lot cheaper than?
It's anywhere from we do like 30 quid seated,
right?
60 for ringside, 40 for VIP, like at the table, and then depending on the show, sometimes do some for 20 quid standing.
Right.
So
do you have bouts from what? How do you start the fight? Do you have it to the best 2 fighters at the end? Do you get like 2 star fighters?
So we'll normally have, like, say you've got sort of a main event and like the co-main event, so the 2 best fights or well-known fighters in the card. You normally have one is the last fight before the interval, and then one will be the last fight at the end of the night.
Right. Are they? Is there many heavyweights in that game?
There's not. There's quite a lot of heavyweights in bare knuckle, to be honest.
Yeah.
We hope we've got some more coming through, I think, but there's not a huge amount of them.
Yeah, he's a you know, our friend from here, John Lewis.
Yeah, John's a good mate of mine. So John's coming down.
Absolute brilliant lad.
I think John's coming to the show, but he's going to come down to this training day. He's bringing a mate of his down who's looking to fight for it.
Right.
And I've been nagging John for at least 3 years to come and fight for us now. And you will, John, if you want him,
John.
You will one day. Yeah, I like John. He's good lad.
He's a great lad. He's one of them. I first met him at a boxing fight, and he was fighting the lad I was actually training. And John beat the lad, destroyed him, you know. But lovely gentleman. Know his dad as well. Always respectful. He's a family man. He's not a bully or nothing like that. He does his own little thing. He doesn't shout his mouth off or nothing, but he's really got fast hands for a big lad. He's really nice man. And he's always there, you know. He's really nice. I'm always making him laugh and joking with him, but he's a really nice lad. I have all the time in the world for him because he's not a bully. You get a lot of people who can fight going on bullying people. I just don't like it at all.
Okay, well, you know when you did like the evening with Stephen Sears up at Newcastle, so I couldn't make it that night. And it must be about halfway through. My phone rings, and it was John on the phone. Where are you? I thought you'd be here. Oh, what is do you want to come up now? He's in it. I like John. He's a nice lad.
Yeah, he is, gentleman. He is, yeah. Yeah, so what mainly fighters do you have fighting? Is it middleweight and lightweight and things like that? Are they take up most of the fights?
There's quite a range. I mean, on this show, we've got sort of welterweight upwards. We're having a really interesting fight. So we've got a fighter who goes under the name of Mad Joe. He's not mad, but he is called Joe. Absolutely lovely lad. He's British, English, but he lives over in Spain. And with all of this through the pandemic, and he's got a pregnant wife at home, he's not going to be coming over now. But at the minute, he's the current light welterweight and welterweight British champion.
Right.
He was throwing his hat in the ring and going up to light middleweight, and he was challenging the light middleweight champion. So he was trying to be like a 3-belt champion. Funny enough, he's also called John Lewis, the light middleweight champion, but a different John Lewis, the big John. So that would have been quite a good one. And then we've got, I don't know, a fighter from York called Luke Atkin. He's got an absolutely
I've heard that name, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a massive amateur record. Really, really good. And he's like a 2-time former world bare knuckle champion. So he's been out the sport for a couple of years. He's going to come back as well.
Do they all have to come from? Are these world, meaning obviously they fight all over the world to get it?
Yeah, so we've got fighters that come from all over the world.
Right.
We've
so
got
you have to be the world champ. You have to fight everyone from anywhere, don't you? From America to Spain to Italy to Rome, whatever. You have to be anywhere, don't you? So yeah.
There's this other promotion who I'm not going to name, and they keep having this transatlantic title fight, and somebody I know was fighting in it. I went, all right, and this kid's from, I'm not going to say where, but he's in this country.
Yeah.
He's all right if you're fighting. He says, such and such. Isn't he from like London? Yeah. Well, how can it be transatlantic? Well, because it is. Well, it can't be. You're both in England. You're both from England. You're not crossing the Atlantic. You know, you need somebody like American or Canadian to fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no. Well, the promoter says I can't. You just kind of don't get it.
So do you get a lot of these different sports in the fight now seem to make belts up? Because when I went to I think it was North Shields with the boxing place there, the Viking Eric the Viking, he was fighting a lad from Newcastle. It was to be the Northeast champion, but they just made that belt up. It wasn't like a belt. It was just made up on the day, if you know what I mean. So,
I think it's one of them that you can have like champions of different promotions.
Right.
So you like whatever promotion that was on, that he might be like the Northeast champion for that.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, was that fighting on a Gateshead?
No, it was in North Shields. I think it was. I'm sure he was from Newcastle. That who beat the little black-haired lad. He won every round. So he outboxed him. But there was all the lads from South Shields, North Shields were shouting at Eric. I thought we're going to get killed here, but they were tax man. They all knew me for the dad's days when I was in jail with them. So I get on with everyone. Big John was actually there at that too. But he's a good lad. Brammy does all the mixed martial arts. He's a good lad from down here, Chris Cross, and he was at a fight once. He said he went. I don't know if it was somewhere like Nottingham for the European title or something. He said there was only me and this one lad. He thought it would be like say 16 people, then down to 8, then down to 4, then down to 2, then down to 2. It was just a lad. But I don't know where he was from. I can't remember what he said. He said we fought and then I won this European belt, but I don't even acknowledge I've won it because it's just Mickey Mouse one. He said it was just the two of them having a fight in a wrestling thing. He won it and he got to become the European champion. But I never mentioned it because it wasn't real. He said really, European champion. But there was only two. There was a European champion. There was only one fight.
No, you get some funny ones like that. Like, I mean, it was this showdown in Mansfield once over, not the promotion that we're with, and it got sort of a couple of hours before the fighters were due to fight, and the promoter did a run out with all the ticket money and the charity box. It just kind of left everything.
Was everyone sat there waiting for the fight?
Where I was there was bloody Hell's Angels. There was all kinds of villains from down there, and they're all ready to kind of go off. It was just nuts. So some of the fighters ended up fighting each other in the middle of the dance floor, which it is what it is, I guess. But some of them are just shocking, to be honest. And I mean, there's a lot of them putting these hooky little shows on in the middle of all these lockdowns and stuff like that, and. You know, whatever you think about lockdowns and that, but stuff like that, it could get the sport banned altogether. It's just crazy.
What do you know when people say to me that other thing? What's a journeyman? What does that mean when people come called journeyman? Is that someone who just goes in just for the money and not really bothers?
Yeah, well, so a journeyman would be somebody who they'll sort of be on the road every week or every weekend, going around taking fights. Normally the opponents for people who are like good prospects who are just sort of novices or filling fights at the last minute, that kind of thing. So they just travelling fights for money. Some journeymen, a lot of them, they go there and they go to fight and they go to win. Some journeymen just go because they're getting paid. They dance around for a round. And then
have you ever had them type and you've had to stop them and you think, I'm not having him again because he's only come for the money, he's just gone the ring, did not.
Yeah, well, there's probably one.
Have you ever had that type of thing on your shows?
Well, I think sometimes the journeyman can save a show if you've had somebody pull out at the last minute. But if you get one of these dodgy ones, it can kind of ruin the show as well.
Right.
Well, I know, especially in pro boxing, journeymen, pro boxers, they don't sort of fight generally week in, week out. But the journeymen, they'll travel the country or travel the world, and they'll rock up in a different country or a different town, they'll get in the ring, they'll fight, they'll go home.
Yeah, I mean, Tyson was like a journeyman, wasn't he? Because he was fighting every 6 weeks, but he was fighting real fighters, wasn't he? And doing the business. So I can't understand why these professional heavyweight boxers only have 2 fights a year. I think it's a bit of a joke, to tell you the truth.
I think it's a lot to do with the boxing politics more than anything.
Yeah,
there's so much
because if you, I know you're probably coming from there, Stuart. Because if you win the belt, you want to say I'm the world champion. So you get all the sponsors and all the money off all the promoters and television ads and everything. Where if you go 6 weeks later and get knocked out, you're not the world champion. Is it probably something like that?
Well, a lot of it you can always tell, especially like with what we do in the bare knuckle, who the real champions are, because they're the ones that, oh, brilliant, I've won the title, can't wait to defend it, and want to get in and sort of defend the title as well.
Well, that's what Tyson was like when he was fighting. Sometimes I think he had fight every 6 to 8 weeks, and what they call that is fighting fit, isn't it? Match fit, or every like football's called match fit. He wasn't bothered to fight anyone. He proved it, and he beat everyone. And there were some tough guys in the 80s who he beat. He was just probably the best combination puncher I've ever seen in my life.
I think he's something quite special, but the ability of the combinations and the brain on him as well. And it's something you don't notice, but he's got some pretty nifty footwork on him as well.
Yes. That's that disco dancing, see, I told you.
Well, funny enough, we've got a fighter called Disco Dancing Dave.
I
knew and he might be watching this. Dave, this wasn't set up, but it just came up. So he'll come literally.
Hiya, Dave, mate.
On the whole thing, and when he does his walkout, he dances all the way to the ring, like someone off Saturday Night Fever, but louder. And he gets in the ring, and he's a cracking fighter at the boot as well. Great.
Sounds good to me.
Disco Dancing Dave. Yeah, he's a good laugh.
It sounds funny to me. That's brilliant. Good gimmick,
yeah.
It's like me now. Last we did car karaoke, we couldn't sing. I couldn't sing to save my life, but it makes you happy and it makes people out there happy. And you get people saying, "Oh, don't pack in your daytime job. I won't. Don't worry."
One popped up a while ago. If you're doing that, I remember Emma was singing, and then you put it in. I thought, "Fuck's sake!" I thought I was bad. Emma's got a beautiful voice, but what do you say? I don't know. It was a laugh.
Well, what it does, Stewie, it makes people laugh. It makes people. If people laugh at us and make them laugh, we're not bothered, mate. As long as people puts a smile on people's faces.
And that's what it's all about, to be honest. And it seems to work as well.
Yeah.
But you're doing, I think you're doing cracking with these podcasts. You're getting a real good following. That the guy you had, I think it was last week, the Mafia, I forget his name.
John Elite.
Family, he was quite good.
Yeah, John Elite, really good guy. He was good. Gary Carroll the other week, we had him on. He was ex-army. He was a paratrooper. He was in Afghanistan and places like that. He went into Syria, helped to get these girls who got captured free, paid for his own bullets and gun. Went in there, spent $2.5 grand and saved loads of people's lives in and out of Afghanistan, bringing people over the border to Turkey, saving them. Real like Rambo. And he's also the French Foreign Legion, so a real tough guy he is. But he's a nice guy. It's nice to have different people on show instead of just the same thing. I mean, we don't glorify gangsters and we don't glorify anything. If anybody wants to be the tough guy, go and see Stewie. He'll get you in the ring and sort it out that way. We're nice and having people. We'll get your mate down Liverpool. He'll sort them out when you get them in the ring. But is there many boxing affiliations in the bare knuckle? Is there only a few? No boxing people like yourself.
To be honest, there's more and more coming about, but a lot of them are just they're doing the cow shed or something like that. Or if it comes up on a live, they just do the first fight and then they get raided by armed response or something because it's illegal. But it's becoming more and more prevalent sort of worldwide. It's getting really big in America now. And there's a brilliant bare knuckle scene coming up in Poland as well. Some
tough guys, them Polish lads.
Yeah, definitely. There's some good promotions springing up over there. I was wanting to get over there this year to see some of them, but with all this shit that's been going on, but it'd be good to get over there, like, definitely.
Yeah, I'd imagine a lot of people are struggling as well. Boxing, like we say, they've had to take normal jobs, haven't they? Even professional boxers have struggled then to go back to work.
That's it. And I think it's as well sort of with the boxers' mind that they're training for something. They train, they put all the energy into it, and they need to get in and have that release on the night of the fight. And I think a lot of them are maybe struggling because they haven't sort of had that. So I know they're all really looking forward to more than normal on the.
I think in the boxing, and not disrespect to you or anyone, but I think in the boxing game and even the professionalism, people get to the top and they're like your Mike Tyson's, Muhammad Ali's, all these type of people, and all of them, they all seem to get depression. Frank Bruno, a lot of them go on drugs. Mike Tyson, because I'm not saying I was a great boxer. When I was fighting, I was beating my fights where I lived. I was making money and doing you're at the top. But when you get to it, when you can't do it anymore, you've got to have something else to fall back on. So I think a lot of people do the boxing. You get a lot of footballers the same. They're brilliant. Everyone's screaming for 40,000 people in the crowd. Then they're at home on their own, sat there. They end up gambling because they're depressed and things. I think there should be associations somewhere so they can get help. Lots suffering from mental health and depression.
Yeah,
because they're in training.
Well, I know there's something in Sunderland, Sunderland Ex-Boxers Association or something like that.
Right, that's good.
They do a lot of that kind of thing. I don't know a great deal about it, but I know there is one in Sunderland. There might be one in other areas as well, but I know there's one there.
Yeah, you get a lot of that with the army lads who come back from fighting. They get depression, but they're all helping each other now. They've all got like chat line things where they can help each other, and one brother can help another brother, and it doesn't matter where they're from. And it's really good because
lads also, they'll send them off. They'll be in active combat in Afghanistan or something. They come home, and go right, crack on, just go and get a normal job, get on with your life, sort of thing. And
it's like to say turn it off like that.
Like that, and you being in combat, it must be hard to adjust.
Yeah, it's like anything's in it. It's like going to jail. When you go to jail, just get on with your jail. It's not as easy as you think. So I can imagine being in a war and friends being killed and shot and you're going home, and then they say, right, you're working in the butcher's or the bank. I mean, it must be absolutely horrendous for them to try and get them pictures out of your head and then memories. So it's really good. We had Steve Norton on the other night. He was a psychologist. He was really good. Helps people. A lot of people say, well, what if this is going to happen? What if that's going to happen? Say, well, what if it doesn't? That was his analogy. Instead of saying what if, say what if it doesn't?
That's the thing, isn't it? Is your glass half full or half empty?
Yeah. A lot of people suffer from mental health there, Stewie, and they won't go and get help because they feel embarrassed. Now, I think it's a stupid thing to do because people like Tyson Fury can come out and say they've had it. People like myself, another boxer like Ricky Hatton and people like that have suffered from it and have come out and told the truth. Just because you're tough and you can fight and you can do this, that, and the other, your brain is now to do that. If you got mental health problems, you must get help. If you break your leg, you'll go and get a pot on your leg. If you get a cut arm, you'll go get stitches. So you need to go and get help. Don't suffer in silence at home. If you need to be got mental health problems, there's no embarrassment through it. Don't be ashamed of it because you end up taking. So a lot of these people take their own lives through it, and it's just there is help out there if you ask for it. It's
horrific the amount of people that do lose their lives. I've got some friends over the last few years, sadly, that have done that. It's horrendous, and it seems to be becoming more and more prevalent.
It does, yeah. A lot of this online bullying, we're going to John Elite's going to help us with it as well. Big Joe Egan. We'll probably try and get you on board. Loads of people to stop this online bullying for people because 80% of children who kill themselves are getting bullied online, which is horrendous.
It's horrific. Read about that, isn't it? It's awful.
Yeah. It's coming out now, the North Yorkshire Police thing. They've stamped down on it, which is good on them. Trying to go to these people's routers and things now and starting to do it properly. They shouldn't be able to do that, calling people incompetent. There was one we talked about the other night. A young girl, about 12, 13-year-old, was egged on by about another 5 or 6 girls the same age to go and get tablets. She went and got the tablets. They egged her on to take them. She took the tablets and died online while the other was laughing at her. I mean, that's a horrible, horrible story. Terrible, sick. Yeah, we're just trying to put a stop to it. We're going to legislation. We're going to go to Parliament. We spoke to MPs. We spoke to mayors. We spoke to loads of celebrities on board. So we're going to try and get it changed. So if you're on, since we're going to get it. So if you're online and you say I'm Brian Cockerill, you have to prove who you are by your license, maybe a utility bill, and your face come on instead of an avatar coming on bullying you. So you can't put avatars on. You have to put your real your name on. And you put your face on like that so you can prove who you are. And we spoke to top people at the top, barristers and stuff, and they think it's a fantastic idea.
I tell you what surprised me, that you hear about it a lot, about all this trolling and stuff like that, especially on Twitter. And I don't use Twitter that much. This happened with Steve Wraith over the last few months, and when that bloke turned up at his house. He was on the school. That was terrible, that was really, I was foaming about that. Me and Steve go back a long time, it just wasn't fair. And I've been sort of following some of this, and I'm absolutely amazed at the amount of them, especially, and I've been pretty much watching some of these idiots with Steve. I don't say, he just bugger all to cause it. And there was one, there's one, he's literally in video after video, and I don't mean the one with the eye patch. It's some spotty little kid, about 18 or 19 or something, and he's basically just trying to live and get a following using Steve's name as a hashtag. Yeah. And he's just sitting there slating them. What an absolute little talent he is.
Yeah, it's you get them all over.
I was quite surprised. And
we had the lad Ben Doherty, who was a good Ben Doherty, the boxer lad from London, where he was getting trolled from one up this way. And all he did is say he didn't do what this person wanted to do. And for 2 years, he trolled him non-stop, and he outed him the other week and said who he was. And the same person's done it to hundreds of people, but it'll have to end in the end. They can't keep getting away with it, mate. I mean, how could you sit there all day making accounts up, fake accounts to call someone? I couldn't be bothered. I really couldn't be bothered.
I wouldn't have the time even if I had the inclination. It's not.
Mate, I mean, that proves that I've got nothing else in their life. We were talking to a psychologist. Reed has been doing, and I know quite a lot about psych. I've studied it for years, 20-odd years I've been studying it. And people who call people grassers or people call people bullies or whatever, it's like a mirror reflection of themselves, or projection it's called. So when the people are calling you, they're not happy themselves, so they have to call someone to get the jollies off, because then they feel happy, but then they start drinking, taking drugs and drink, and they're sitting there sad. But they're masking themselves by calling you because they're depressed themselves and they're not happy with their own selves. These type of people keep changing their appearance all the time, being somebody else, trying to be somebody else. Just be yourself and stop being like, get praying to God and get some help out there, you know.
It does make you wonder what they kind of get out of it. I mean, I'm as guilty as anybody of sort of having a spat or something over Facebook, and you know, but that's for a reason. 6 of one off, and the other. I don't kind of hide my identity and then go on and stalk them for years. It's just nuts. And these people seem prolific. It's not just one person they're doing it to. There's just more and more and more of them. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's I'm not bothered what anyone says about me, as long as they're not swearing and being horrible and saying horrible, rude things and things. They want to call me a bully, or they want to call me this, or I wasn't that strong, and I wasn't that good at fighting, or I wasn't this. That's their opinion. I'm not bothered. But when they're coming on fake accounts, threatening to rape my wife and burn the house down, and
that was disgusting.
And kill my dog and things like that. That's just like Steve Wraith when they come to your house. They've overstepped the mark, mate. Absolutely disgusting. And then they're saying they haven't done it, and they're just lying through the teeth. But they're all saying, my mum always says, it always comes out in the wash.
It does. And these people, they kind of forget what lies they've told under different personas, and it always tends to catch up with them, and they catch themselves out in the end.
Yeah, you're right. My friend down the road, Rob Holloway, is a good lad. There was a lad down his way doing this. And the lads, in the end, they found him out through the router and everything, got him. And he got 8.5 years for it, because now it's not classed as cyberbullying. If you're on every platform and they can get, all they have to do now is go on the router or go on the police can go. I mean, the only people can do it is the police. So if people call people grassers to get the police because if somebody's going to burn to his house or kill the wife or shoot the wife, what they're supposed to do, just sit there and let them do it. So
well, that's it. I mean, it's easy enough to trace them through the IP address on the router. Anybody can do it if you know what you're doing. It's
yeah.
quite.
Well, what they're doing now, these youths, and they've got one called Paladon, they're a cyber stalking one. And what they do is they go on and they find them, and what they do, they put all the false accounts together and they start looking at the terminology. Like they'll say a certain word a certain way, or they'll spell it wrong, and that's how they catch these paedophiles. And what you said is they forget what, because some of them have been doing it for 6, 7, 8 years. They forgot who they've been bullying. They forgot these people have got face shots of them. They've got emails of them. They've recorded them. They forget about all this, and then all of a sudden they put it all together. These people who are experts, who are language experts, they look at it. That's him again. That's her. That's him. That's him. That's her. Then they put it all together, and then the next minute they're finished. And then the thing is, for what? My friend Terry Dixon said, "For what? What's it all about?" To call people names.
I don't get what they get out of it. I don't,
mate.
It's always fun though when you get them like that, and say it's on Facebook or something, and they're giving somebody grief, and then all of a sudden the one that's giving them grief, their mate will come on, and they talk to each other, but you can actually tell it's the same person on 2 different accounts talking to themselves.
That's exactly what they do. You've got talking about themselves here. One thing, Brian, don't you come and I'll say it, but it's him 3 or 4 times on, or the person or the friend or the wife or the husbands, they're like tag teams on it, and they're calling the person. So, there's 2 calling him now. He must be a baddie him. So what the tactics people like yourself and Stephen Rafe and all the other people will see through it. He's had it as well, so he knows exactly what I'm on about. But it's not nice to have it done to you, especially your wife. And it doesn't bother me, but when they're threatening your wife and things, it's just. And then they're pretending that you're doing things to their family. And when the police come and check everything about me, never done anything. I said, take me forward, take me computer, take anything. And they went, we know you haven't done anything. Just rambling on over rubbish. Like the one-eyed idiot.
He says everybody's prayers as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he's bringing out things what could get people jail. I mean, if those statements went through and they went ahead and I was a dodge pot like he is, he's been going to jail for a long time. But the thing is, I can't keep doing them things. I mean, phoning the police on people and making lies up about people that didn't exist. And he's trying to call my friends, Stephen and Michael, who are lovely, lovely lads, really good lads, making lies up about them and things in the past what they're supposed to have done, which is absolute rubbish. You know that, and I know that, and everyone else knows that. But people sometimes listen to people like him, but obviously no one will have the brain to listen to him.
He was going off about me last week on YouTube, all about I've been asked to set up a fight between Stephen and Patrick, shall we call him, and the lies he was telling, it was ridiculous, and that's why I did that. I did that podcast with Steve just to put the truth out there. It's just nuts. Yeah. But whether he I just wouldn't sort of pop up, or whether he just, I don't know. I feel a little bit sorry for him. I think he's lost the plot.
I do. I tell you the truth, mate. I do myself. I had a bit of a rant today about him, but I thought I'm not having him tell lies about me. And I'm not telling lies. And the thing is, there's that many witnesses who were there that day. I mean, all the people in the house, all them were there. Friends and that have admitted it. They've apologised to me. Some of the people over there, they've shook hands with me. The heavyweight boxers made friends with me. I've got no problems with anyone. I'm a Christian now. I do feel sorry for him because he's definitely got mental health problems. He sat there smoking cannabis online and saying, well, I'm not taking drugs. And he's off his head and he just looks a shambles. You know, he needs to get himself help. And I hope he does. So pray for him. I really do. Well, you can't have people calling you names and saying things that aren't true, because you've got to stand up for yourself sometimes. As long as you're not calling people, I'm not calling him anything, but if he wants me to do a lie detector and go there, he'll have to do one about that. He wasn't there then, and he didn't set about me, tried to kill me with all his gang, and then told them all to stop and got arrested by the police because he was caught on the A19 in his Jeep, but was seen outside the premises. Off-duty policeman seen him. He even kidnapped the people in the house that threatened me. So how many charges is he going to get done for? But he wasn't there, he said. But he got 3 months on remand, Stewie, and I went to the jail and got him off. Exactly, that's what I'm going to do, mate. But it is annoying when he's like making lies up about Steve and that, because they're really good lads, you know. So that's why I really went on, because I just know it's all lies.
Well, that's when he was banging on about me, was to try and put Stephen down because of the response when I tried to match this fight, which was just nuts, because he said, oh, yeah, I can't. I'm going to have my tea.
But
yeah. What it is. So,
yeah,
regular sound.
Yeah, that's great, mate. So, for the last 5 minutes or so, mate, what do you think? What do you think about everyone coming back to normal now, nearly? Everything opening.
I think it's really, really good. I just hope people don't kind of go too quick and go a little bit nuts. And all this when they were saying, I think it was earlier on, there was people will be allowed to travel soon. And I love traveling and I'm desperate for a holiday, but I don't think I'll be traveling abroad at the minute. So I think I just want to wait until things are a bit more settled down. You just don't know, but I mean, after the first lockdown, we all thought, oh, that's it, that's the end of it, kind of thing, and then it came back worse. So
I think they're coming to the end of it now myself. I really do. I think it's less and less people catching it. I think they've nipped it in the bud in a way. But it's been great having you on the show, Stewie. So thanks very much, mate.
Thank you. You're frozen again. Thank you very much, Brian.
Yeah, frozen.
Deliberate.
Okay, mate. Thank you. See you soon.